The year was 2017, and every single bitch in high school had a Finsta account or a spam account, okay? Every single girl had a fake Instagram account where we would post like way too many details about our lives. You would add all of the people that you want to see it, and you would make it private so that only they could see it. And you would talk shit about people, you would post intimate details, talk way too much about your life. Like, it was a bad time. I need to make a video on just Instagram Finstas alone, but that was the time period, okay? So it began with that. It began with me posting way too much of my life on multiple Finstas account. Like, you would have like best ones with your best friend, ones by yourself, ones with a group of girls that you're friends with. Like, there was too much going on, okay? I feel like that's where a lot of this like oversharing started, at least like with the culture that I experienced. And I just stuck with that. Like, I never let go of that. I always wanted to be a YouTuber, so like I was always obsessed with like talking to my phone and posting like details of my life. And especially when you had like other girls that were all doing the same, it was kind of like normalized. Like, this is normal behavior, okay? And then I started doing it on my story when I wanted to start taking TikTok more seriously. So I think I had like some videos go viral and I wanted to start like content creating. So I just started like filming the process of that and talking to myself. And I was trying to get more comfortable with just like showing myself to my entire Instagram and not just like a Finsta account, because those were kind of over and done with. I was done with high school, I was out of it. But I wanted to continue just like being a content creator. So I started posting stories on my Instagram account, and it was mostly for a confidence thing, to like show people that like it's not that serious. You can post and talk about whatever you want, because there was such like this energy on Instagram of like, you have to like filter everything you're going to talk about to post on your main Instagram. Like, every single picture, every single story has to be perfect. It has to be like curated to the people that you know are watching. And you always had the people in the back of your mind, like people judging you from high school. You're like, oh my god, I can't post anything out of place or else like they're gonna think I'm weird. So I was really trying to grow out of that, because I was like, I don't care anymore. I've been out of high school for how long? I just want to be myself. So I started posting these vlog type stories on my Instagram, and I loved it, and I got so much people like responding well to it. So I am an aspiring influencer, as you can see, and I am in a massive forest with barely any people, and I'm still scared about people seeing me film myself because I'm embarrassed. So I'm taking this video to get comfortable doing this. I think you're a weirdo. This is your sign to do it, because ever since I started posting on my Instagram story like I am now, I feel so much more confident in myself, and nobody has been calling me a weirdo. I've actually gotten like so many encouraging messages, but it started to become like I was sharing way too much of my life, and this really took a turn when my brother passed away. Basically, like, I freaked out because I always had all these people responding to my stories, okay, and just saying really nice messages. And then I posted just like a picture of like my brother and saying like rest in peace and saying whatever. And was I doing it for attention? Probably. I mean, like, my brother just died. I wanted support. I don't think that's a bad thing. And I didn't get really anybody saying anything, and I just lost it, okay? I was going through like mental issues, okay? Obviously. Yeah, it's just really nice to have support from people I barely talk to. Another thing I wanted to say is I'm blown away, truly blown away by the amount of people that I thought I was friends with. Family members, cousins that I saw last weekend. People I've given free readings to that have not reached out to me. And it takes like a simple 2 seconds to just say, sorry for your loss. I just feel like it's like basic respect. So I've unfollowed everybody that hasn't, and you can all go fuck yourselves. Honestly, it felt really good. It wasn't all just like me freaking out. A lot of it was me talking about my brother and his spirit, and so that people would know who he was. Like, a lot of it was good, but a lot of it, like, I overshared. And I started doing this more, where I would just like say my opinion on things and like say my thoughts on things, and I got a lot of good responses to it, but a lot of it I was oversharing, and I was living in a toxic household at the time. Like, there was just a lot going on, and I would just rant all day long. Like, I had nothing better to do because I was off of work because my brother passed away, so I was solely just on Instagram all the time. I was sharing all these details of my life, and I got a lot of good responses, but I look back now and I know that those people, most of them, like some of them were really nice and supportive and actual friends, but a lot of them were there to watch my life fall apart because my life was falling apart in every single way. And a lot of them just wanted to see it crumble because that's entertaining. It's entertaining to see somebody losing their minds and calling out people and talking shit. Like, that's entertainment. I really pulled back a year ago on how much I was talking about because I got this job as a manager and I just got scared, like, oh my god, what if they're looking at my social media? I don't want them to see how crazy I am. Like, and I started to get more into like God and spirituality and like bettering myself. Like, I've really gotten into like self-help and personal growth and like becoming my best self. Like, that's my goal right now. And so I started posting less about the crazy shit that's going on in my life and more about how to better yourself when you're going through these things. Like, I was talking more about like my mental health and like how I'm trying to better myself. And I wasn't telling people as many details. I wasn't going into every single little thing about, because I had a lot of things still going on, but I didn't tell people because I was like, I feel like people want this. They want me to fail. So I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. So I've pulled back. However, in November, I hit a breaking point with my mental health. I was going through something with my family, and I was posting on my story a little bit, just kind of talking about like my daily struggles of like mental health and stuff. And I just realized, like, I just felt like nobody cared. And they probably didn't or did, I don't know. It was just in the comparison of how it used to be, of people always reaching out and always being like, oh my god, I understand you, thanks for posting this, like, it was so authentic to hear you share this, like, I go through the same thing. I wasn't hearing that anymore. Like, here and there I was, but I kind of realized, like, okay, I'm solely posting this for validation and I'm not getting it. So clearly I need to work on this because this isn't healthy for me to constantly be looking for validation on Instagram from random people. Like, this isn't normal. So I just came to a point where, and I also was like doom scrolling all the time, just like laying in my bed, just like looking for a distraction, like looking for community and looking for support, and I just wasn't finding it. And I just felt so mentally not well. I was like, I think I need a break. And it's crazy that this was such a big deal, but honestly in this day and age it is. If there's any older people watching that aren't as into like social media, you're probably like, oh my god, your generation is so insane. Like, the fact that going off of an app for 2 months is like a big deal, but like, it is, we're all addicted to these apps. And it is a big deal because I've been using Instagram, honestly, like an addiction since I've gotten like a phone, and I've never considered like what my life would look like without that, because when you're on this app and a part of this culture, you're constantly seeing everybody's lives and like you're seeing all these different realities, and it kind of makes you feel like overwhelmed all the time because you're just experiencing so many things. You're comparing yourself to people's lives. You're trying to think of like, oh my god, I need to show how hot I look. I needed it to stop. I was losing it. I was like, I'm not going through a good time and I just need to go away and find myself. Like, I just felt like something was wrong and I needed to detox. So now we're in 2025, and basically I detoxed from Instagram for probably 2 months. Honestly, I think it's been longer. I don't know the exact day that I stopped. I know that it was sometime end of November. So it's honestly over 2 months at this point. The first like 2 weeks, I felt like really strange because I'm like, this is so weird. Like, and I'm not used to just not scrolling when I'm bored. And it really forced me to focus and be present, which is what I was looking for. It definitely was hard. I was forced to like write in my journal more and talk to myself instead of a camera, which I think is important because it's so easy to just neglect yourself when you're so immersed in everybody else's realities. It's like you neglect that connection with yourself, and that's what I think I was needing, and I think that's why my mental health was depleting, because I didn't have a connection with myself. I wasn't checking in with myself first. I was always checking in with Instagram first and everybody else. After the 2 weeks, I honestly felt like, wow, like I don't need this. I feel like I've never needed it, and I feel like I'm never going back. Like, honestly, I didn't miss it. I didn't care about other people's lives. Like, to be honest, I didn't miss looking at people's stories. I didn't miss scrolling. I didn't miss any of it. Like, I was just like, this is nice. Like, I feel free. I feel like I've come back to myself. I feel like I have my own like thoughts again. I feel like I'm actually accomplishing things in my life instead of wasting all my time scrolling. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't continue to go on my phone. Like, I still wasted time scrolling on YouTube Shorts, because that's pretty much the only other social media that I use. And so I'm not gonna sit here and say that I was like living out in the woods with no technology. Like, I was still going on my phone, but the difference was crazy. Like, I felt like I was actually dealing with shit instead of just talking about dealing with it. Because that was another thing, is I would talk about these things I was dealing with and be like, yeah, like, I want to do this is a goal I have. And it felt like instead of talking about it, I actually just did it. Like, I did so many things. I cut out coffee, I didn't drink, started going to the gym every day. And before, it felt like I would need to be like, everybody, like, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and I wanted to motivate other people, but I felt like if I'm constantly just telling people what I'm doing, it's not as like real. Like, I need to do this for myself, and then I can share it with people. I also realized like I was sharing my every move because I felt alone, like because I didn't feel like I have a community in my life. I felt like I needed to just talk to anything, which is a camera, to feel like I wasn't alone. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of running from myself. Let me just sink into being alone and find out what that's like. And then I had this goal to start like YouTube, like actually, because I've always had this goal to do YouTube, but never stayed consistent with it. So I was like, you know what? Instagram, I have all these like preconceived ideas about who's watching me. I know the types of people that are watching me. It's people from high school, it's people that know me, it's people that put me in this box already, even without trying to. Maybe it's subconscious, they just know me as the Sid that they know. I was like, I want to start fresh with a community that has no idea who I am and see if anything's different. So I started posting not like the same type, like I wasn't talking to the camera as if they already knew me like I was doing on Instagram. I was talking to the camera as just giving motivational inspiration, trying to give advice, but keeping in mind that like this is a new community that doesn't know me yet. And I found that I just felt so much more passionate about it. Like, being on this YouTube channel, I've attracted people that like really resonate with me and aren't just watching to see if I'm gonna like lash out or be crazy. Like, I've actually attracted people that are going through the same things I'm going through, or are understanding the advice that I'm saying. And I just felt like I was able to be more myself and talk about the things I actually wanted to talk about, because it felt like on Instagram nobody cared, but it feels like on YouTube people actually like care what I want to say. And I think it's really good to understand that if you are trying to become something, just because the environment that you're in isn't making you feel like the thing that you're trying to do is worth anything, that doesn't mean that it's not. It means that you're probably just in the wrong environment, and there is a community of people out there that will ride with you and will support you and will understand you. Like, I feel like a lot of creative people that want to start doing things, like they often might quit because they're like, well, nobody cares and nobody like is getting what I'm trying to do. But it's like, you just haven't found the people yet. There is 7 billion people on this earth, and you really think that there's not a community out there that's going to love the art that you're putting out? There is. You just need to expand and find them and let go of an old version of you that is subconsciously curating your content for a specific group of people that you no longer resonate with. I do have a lot of people that follow me on Instagram that my content is not for you, and I know that. I'm very like weird, spiritual, into paranormal, into all of this shit. I want to talk about that, and I know that it's not going to resonate with you because you're not that type of person. I need to go to a different platform where I was going to find a lot more people that will find me. I also really liked not knowing what was going on. Again, like I said before, when you're on Instagram, you are experiencing like all these different realities of people's point of views of things, like news, all these different lives and what's going on in their lives. Like, those are all different realities. If you take that away, you are here. In my room, I'm here in this reality. I'm not seeing what's going on in that country, in this person's life. I'm in one reality. To come back to that was so refreshing. To not know what was going on. Like, to have people come to me and be like, have you heard of this? Nope. And it was so peaceful. Like, yes, there is an importance of knowing what's going on in the world and being connected to that. But when you're so immersed in like all the news and the bad stuff that's going on, you start to deteriorate mentally and start to feel like, oh my god, like what can I do? Like, sometimes you need to pull yourself back to your reality and get yourself right in your own before you can go like sharing your mind in others. Because how are you going to help those other realities when you're not right with yourself? And I just felt like I needed to be present. I needed to feel like I'm not constantly hearing all this gossip, whatever. Like, I just needed to be here and to not know what was going on. I just felt like, no, I don't know that news and I don't know that, and I don't care. I care about me getting my goals together and getting my mind right, because then I can be a healthier person for everybody. I'm more likely to help people if I can be good with myself. And then I came to a point where I started to miss it. And it wasn't Instagram that I missed, it was filming myself. I think I was desperately trying to get away from being who I am. I felt like it was embarrassing to film myself. I felt like it was childish and immature. I didn't want to be this Gen Z person that's constantly filming their lives. I just felt like this is immature. Like, you can't be a manager and film yourself. Like, this is immature. You can't express yourself and be a working member of society. Like, grow up, be an adult. And I realized, like, this is who I am though. I like to film myself. I like to give advice. I like to share stories, and people like the authenticity. And no, I'm not going to continue to do it in the way I was before, where maybe I was speaking to things to people that didn't care. But I realized that, like, I miss just being myself, and now I don't care who watches, because before I was also caring, like, who was watching, and oh, but the people here aren't responding to it, so I have to go to YouTube. Now I don't care. Now I don't give a fuck, because I've gone to YouTube, and now I'm like, I'm gonna share myself everywhere, and if the people watching don't like it, I don't care, because this is my Instagram, it's my life, and I want to be so far up my own ass. I've been so fixated on what everybody else thinks about me and trying to curate myself. I just want to be so far up my own ass, so confident, so obsessed with like makeup and hair and outfits and what I'm doing and fun things, that like I don't even think about what people are thinking about me. I just want to be so far up my own ass, and not in like a narcissistic way, but like low-key just like in a fun girly way. I'm not gonna go back to scrolling. So in the past 2 days I started going back to Instagram to just like post my thoughts or whatever, but I haven't been scrolling, and I'm really glad that I got to this point where I feel like I'm in control. The same way that I've controlled my coffee addiction, like I can go have a coffee and not go back to doing it every day. I feel like it's the same now with Instagram. I've controlled it. I can post, but I'm not going to sit there scrolling, wasting my hours away, because I don't care anymore. I don't care what going on. I don't care about all the bad stuff. I don't care. I just don't want any part of it. And that may sound bad, like, oh, you expect people to watch your stuff, but you don't care about theirs. I don't expect people to do anything anymore. I'm doing it because I enjoy doing it, and that's the only reason. I don't think there's anything wrong with social media as long as you don't let it control your life, your mental health, your perception of reality. I think that it's always good to have 1 foot, not even 1 foot, like most of your body in this reality, most of your mind, and you should dabble in the social medias and the other realities. But like, as soon as you start, like, it's like, I don't really know how to explain it, but I feel like it's more of like a feeling when you just feel so involved in everything else and less here. Like, you're constantly just like laying and like on your phone, mentally projected into these other lives. I feel like it can be really dangerous for your mental health, and I feel like we can all agree that like we have an issue with being addicted to social media and like brain rot and rotting in bed. And like, I'm trying to change that, because I want to have kids one day. I don't want them to see me like constantly scrolling like this. I want to be present with them, and I want to feel like secure doing that. And I think that a lot of the issues are like, we're constantly trying to run away from our present moment, and I've forced myself to be present, and now I'm like, I'm not scared of it anymore. Like, I like myself, and I'm going to continue to learn who I am and then show it to the world, because the world deserves to see me, and the world deserves to see everybody. Like, I think it's important to show yourself when you're authentic, because you don't know, just you being yourself is what the world needs. I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I simply had an idea, I ran with it, and this is what I learned from it. So my name is Sydney. If you like my vibe, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!